I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite Lorecast on the Citadel.
Welcome to the Mass Effect Lorecast, the podcast where we explore the vast universe of lore behind the Mass Effect games. We'll talk about all the details you may have missed, ask the hard questions, and more. Specters, welcome back to the Mass Effect Lorecast. You guys are getting like double episodes this week because we shifted the day of the week that we are recording. It is Friday night. We're now on our Friday night schedules. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here with Sam and Seven the Legend. What's up, buddy? How's it going?
I'm fantastic. So I told you earlier, I was just at Pax West today. And it's my first PAX ever, and it's also, as I understand it, the first PAX that's fully reopened since the pandemic.
Wow, fully reopened. Like they've had other like
right,
events,
like last year.
Yeah,
like last year they were there, but I guess there was such restricted attendance that I heard from like several people that it was kind of like dead. Like it didn't feel like PAX really.
Yeah. So it's all back and live, and I hear you've been hobnobbing, elbow bumping with celebrities.
Yeah, you could say that. So a few streamers actually, Smirky, Camilla Panda, and Bowser 16, although the B I think is an 8. So some Nintendo streamers.
8-Houser. That's
8-Houser.
Call him 8-Houser. Or Ocho-Houser? Ocho-Houser.
Ochowser.
Ochowser.
Ochowser. That silly Chowser. But yeah, it's fun. I'm planning on going back tomorrow. I found the BioWare gear exhibit.
Nice.
And I walked up and hey, I do the Mass Effect Lorecast. Maybe you can help me out. And they're like, how about you get lost? No.
The Mass Effect get out of my face cast.
Yeah. They're like, how about you mask me with that? Nice. Yeah. I will leave now. They were like, sorry, there's nothing special we're doing. There's no BioWare actual exhibit at PAX this year. And I've been scouring to find out where people are going to be talking about Unreal Engine. But there is a lot of other exciting stuff going on at PAX. Excited to go back tomorrow. And like I said on Twitter to everyone, if you're a listener and you want to know, you got questions about PAX, let me know. I'll try and find out some answers.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're having a good time. And we have a different episode this week than normal. We're going back to mods. We had a really good response to that it's been a while. That last episode we did, when was that? 8 months ago? It was a while ago, where we talked about modding Legendary Edition and some of the things that you can work into the game. So we decided to revisit this because we've had a little bit more time. I know, Sam, you've been playing with some other new mods that you wanted to share with the community.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, when we did the last episode, I hadn't really played a lot with them yet. Some I actually hadn't tested out at all. I just watched gameplay of. But now I feel a lot more authoritative to speak on the topic of mods, especially these, because I got the 3 best mods that I think people should play in Mass Effect 3.
Awesome. So let's just get into this.
Yeah, let's do it. So these mods, first of all, are very role play heavy. There's one that's really gameplay heavy, but all in all, if you're a role player, if you like the environment, the universe of Mass Effect, you're really going to dig these mods. And the last one that we're going to talk about is my absolute favorite role player mod. So first up, let's talk about the first one. It's called the Appearance Modification menu. And this is really gameplay centered.
Is this a fashion effect mod?
It's a fashion effect mod.
Yes.
And you remember how they said, BioWare said, okay, with Legendary Edition, we're going to have a unified character creator. So your Shepard is really not going to look that different when you import them from 1 to 2, 2 to 3.
Yeah, that was really disturbing back in the day when I got my Mass Effect 2 Shepard, and I was like, this ain't my Shepard.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I remember that happening, and it still happens to some extent. You import your Shepard, you think they look fine in the character creator lighting, but the lighting is not exactly the best.
Yeah, with mine, I thought I had this beautiful femme Shep going. She was gorgeous, and then once I got into the game and saw her face from the side, I was like, wait a minute, no. Nope, that face does not work anymore. From the front, it looked okay, but like...
Right, she probably looked like this pigeon that's behind me, this Mass Effect pigeon.
It was like she had just like a flat face. It was just like, wait, no, this did not import correctly.
Not Pug Shepherd.
Pug Shepherd, yeah.
Oh, Pug Shepherd. I can hear you breathing from here.
She just constantly has this like snore breath, like my Shih Tzu. Just
really,
Shepherd, are you all right?
Snorty dog.
Are you all right, Shepherd? How you doing? I'm fine. Why do you keep asking? I'm fine.
You know that scene in Mass Effect 2, the beginning when Shepard gets spaced? Instead of hearing them choke for breath, you're just hearing... and then it slowly fades out, and then you get the sad piano.
Oh no! Did she stop breathing from space, or did she just have breathing problems?
At any rate, if you want to make your Shepherd look like Pug Shepherd, but you messed up and made them look normal to begin with, then you can do that with the appearance modification menu, because this allows you to change what your Shepherd looks like at any point in the game. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is go up to the armor locker, any armor locker in Mass Effect 3, and then you can press Y, or that's on the controller, and I think it's T on the keyboard, I'm not sure, but you just press the prompt. It takes you to a facial modification menu, and so it unlocks all of these haircuts. It's like something that you would see on an NPC that you knew was in the game, and it doesn't look weird to you, but then you're like, oh my god, I just realized I never got that as an option for my own character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like these things exist, but they're just not given to you.
Right, they're locked. Right. So this unlocks haircuts. It unlocks all the haircuts in the game. I don't think it adds any new textures, so it doesn't look out of place. That's the great thing about this mod. Nothing looks out of place. I mean, you could really fuck up your Shepherd's face if you want, but if you wanted, you could really go like Oblivion character creator with this shit.
Wow. Like Beakhead, like super skinny. That's my favorite Oblivion face.
Yes, because you have such fine-tuned control over all of the aspects of the face, more fine-tuned than you did in the very beginning character creator. Mm-hmm. Like any of the character creators, it's kind of impressive. Mm-hmm. They have like X, Y, and Z axes.
Yeah, sure.
Axes.
Yes, all of the above.
They have those for like literally everything you could think of. Upper cheekbone, lower cheekbone, outer cheek, right. You name it. It's like very like the Fallout character creator. And you have very, very fine-tuned control over that. And there's also like 30 different skin tones. 30.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Do they include other colors that don't exist on humans?
I don't think so.
Okay, because sometimes these things will be like, no, you can have blue skin.
No, I didn't go through all 30. I'll be honest, that just would have been a waste of my time, I think. But I did find the one that I liked, and I think that they're pretty much all human skin tones. Mm-hmm. And there's complexions. Here's the new thing. There's complexions. So did you ever want your Shepherd to look really old?
Even though in the canon, in the game, Shepherd is a specific age.
Look, it's been a rough 33 years.
Yeah,
okay?
Right. No, but now I do.
Yeah, so now you can make your Shepherd look like Grandma Shepherd or Grandpa Shepherd.
That's like an old wizard.
You can do that.
I want an old wizard Shepherd.
It's not just wrinkly, but it's like really leathery skin too.
Oh, nice.
So it's like biker Shep.
Awesome. Or like half the people I live by in Florida who spend too much time at the beach.
Extra crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can make yourself look really old, which is great as well for, if you're big into customization. And you can give yourself features that exist in the game, but you really don't ever see anywhere else other than one person. That is the eyes of the elusive man. Those like circles, the cybernetics. Yeah, you can give yourself cybernetic looking eyes.
Freaking cyberpunk looking eyes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be blue. It doesn't have to be blue like his. You can change it to green, red, any color, because you get fine-tuned control over the red, green, blue spectrum. And you get to control how it glows, or rather, maybe you want it very faint. Mm-hmm. So you can get a very faint in your eyes so that it only appears in certain lighting. And that kind of brings me to my next point. You can fine tune all of these different things. You can fine tune how vibrant your iris color is.
Weird.
Like,
that's awesome.
You get such fine-tuned control. And you can even control like the neck width at the top of the neck, the bottom of the neck, the cheeks, the forehead. You can give yourself a triangle shaped head if you want. I don't know why you would, but like that's my point. It's up to you. So without beating a dead horse, this mod, if you are really into character creation and you were disappointed with Mass Effect's original character creator with the face, you're going to love that mod because that gives you the control that you always wanted.
Do you know if it allows you to go back and edit things after the initial character creation also? Like if you get 2 hours into the game and you're like, it's not exactly what I was hoping for. I want to adjust some stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can go back later?
Do that. Yeah, yep. So,
Very cool.
And of course, if you're doing New Game Plus, then any of the last changes that you made on the last Shepherd, at the very end, those still import into the next one. So
nice. And this is called, again, this is the appearance modification menu.
Yeah, that's right. Appearance modification menu. You can find it on Nexus. It is for Mass Effect 3 Legendary Edition. So
yeah. And just a reminder, these are all on PC. These are PC ones. I don't think any of the consoles are getting modding for Mass Effect anytime soon.
Not that I know of, no, because, with Bethesda games that worked because Bethesda had their own client, but not with Nexus as far as I know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So sorry to our console friends. But
sorry, console friends.
This is a PC heavy episode. And, as far as I know, I've heard from like several people now in the Mass Effect Lorecast community that they are lifetime console players and they're buying a PC now because the graphics card prices have really dropped.
Oh, they went back to normal prices.
Yeah, they're retail.
Yeah. Which is great. And if you're playing on a 1080p monitor, you don't even need something hefty to play Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Like a very, very regular middle of the road graphics card will run that awesome. So
oh yeah. Yeah, you could probably get like a 2060 and run it just fine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that brings me to my next mod that I want to bring up. It's not about graphics at all. So if you have an old PC, don't be worried about installing this mod because it's not going to change anything for you. It's purely role play. It's all narrative, and it's not going to implement any extra scripting or anything like that that might slow down your PC.
Yeah, that's one of the things, real quick, that's one of the things that you have to worry about when you have a PC and you're modding, especially if you have a system that isn't like, a $2,000 system. Any new mods you install usually include more processing, whether that's graphic-wise or CPU-wise. So is that going to tank your gameplay?
Exactly. And this one I can say definitely will not, because it's called the Specter expansion mod. And effectively what we're talking about here is a lot of text boxes that are added. Those take very little processing power. It's like displaying a Word document.
Right.
But the way that it does it is so native. It's so lore friendly. It's so role player focused. Let me explain here. So the mod does 3 things to start with. It improves the Shadow Broker and Specter terminals, which were frankly kind of afterthoughts in my opinion. Sometimes the Specter terminal on the Citadel had, some things to authorize or enable, and sometimes those would alter existing war assets, and you might see some kind of variation of an effect that your choices had. This totally revamps that. It makes it feel like not only are the Spectre choices important, but you're not the only Spectre. You and Jean Dumbao aren't the only Spectres, so you get these intel reports from other Spectres that are lore friendly.
Oh, so they actually wrote their own content that is now showing up.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you get do you have conversations back and forth?
So you don't really have conversations back and forth, but you see correspondence between different Spectres.
Okay. So you get little updates on this side of the galaxy.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's so up my alley. And so not just the Spectre terminal, and it shows the Spectre terminal now. Not just, you don't have to go all the way back to the Citadel. Mm-hmm. You get it right on the Normandy.
Why not? I mean, the Normandy's why not? It seems like one of those things that just should have been there from the beginning, right?
Right, it does. I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made. The Alliance isn't so tied up with the Specters. The Specters might be like, well, we don't trust Alliance security protocols. I could definitely see Solarians arguing that, but that's
in that voice.
Right. That's not, I think it just didn't happen because the developers didn't think about it. Or maybe they wanted to force you to go back to the Citadel so that you would progress certain side quests.
There would be reason to make that a thing outside of just, there's a quest I need to do. Yeah.
But on your eighth playthrough, do you really want to have to go back all the time to just to check the Specter terminal?
Right. No, I don't want to do this quest yet. I just want to check the Specter terminal, but now I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, if you don't want to, now you don't have to. So it adds these unique roleplay entries. For example, last one that I played, Solarian Colony sells out these humans that are kind of living on the same planet as them. They're either on the same planet or next planet. I can't remember, but the Solarians sell them out to the Reapers. And then the Alliance sends you an authorization of whether or not to send an orbital bombardment to the Solarians.
Nice.
And basically saying we should show them what happens when you mess with the Alliance.
Let's make an example of them.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it gives you that choice, and you can authorize it or you can ignore it.
What did you do?
So I let it be.
And which playthrough is this?
This is actually my Sassy Shepherd playthrough because I just looked at that and I'm like, that is kind of a heinous thing to do. Like, I understand that they, sold out the humans, but maybe send some covert ops there, not like blow them to smithereens. That's a little... Yeah,
or some sort of like political, like, hey, we're just going to not trade with you anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, why don't we just not escort you off planet and you can, reap the seeds of what you've sown. So
reap the seeds from the reapers.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of right on the nose.
On the nose. I don't think cuttlefish have noses. But if they did, they would feel it on their nose. The Shadow Broker terminal is also affected, and that is, of course, the Liara's terminal in her office. So the mod author has this to say about the Shadow Broker terminal, says that like the Specter terminal, it's been reworked. These new messages come from the BioWare blogs, so there's all these new messages in the Shadow Broker terminal that they took from the official BioWare blogs when Mass Effect 3 released.
Oh.
And it's from cut content found in the script files. So it is canonical. All of this new stuff is canonical, and it did, exist, and it is legit. It's just that, now it's in a mod.
Yeah, it's from the original writer, so this isn't even on the level of very good quality fan fiction or something like that. This is
legit.
Legit from the writers, just from other sources that weren't here originally.
Exactly. So there's a second point why I really love the Specter expansion mod. It gives all players new difficult choices to consider. And like I just said, kind of with the Solarian colony, it's all of these really, really tough choices where you're like, I have such power that I can change the galaxy with the stroke of a pen or, the touch of a button. And that is what a Specter would be able to do, right? And so, there are these sweeping decisions like being able to bombard Solarians to death because they sold out humans. And you have this level of role-play friendly power that I really love, gives the player more hard choices, which I think if people are a fan of Mass Effect, you probably love hard choices.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, those are the most memorable ones, are the hard choices, because they engage you emotionally.
Oh, absolutely. There's a third thing that this mod does, and I think it does it very well. It makes the background races of Mass Effect, the Hanar, the Elcor, the Volus, the Vorcha, yada, yada, yada.
Our favorite races.
It makes them so much more prevalent. It makes them feel less like the side dish that no one ordered, less like the coleslaw to your pulled pork, if you're not into that.
I like coleslaw, but all right.
I do not like coleslaw.
You don't like coleslaw?
So we differ on that. I don't like coleslaw. For me, coleslaw is like It's like the one family member at a reunion that you're like, I wish you didn't come.
Yeah, well, if you ordered the pulled pork and coleslaw and they forgot the coleslaw, you'd be like, eh. If they forgot the pulled pork, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, exactly. What the hell did I just order? A coleslaw sandwich?
Right.
Well, this mod is not a coleslaw sandwich.
You should write a review of the mod on the Nexus site and say, this is totally not a coleslaw sandwich, 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, mod author will be like, great, thanks, I guess.
Thanks.
No, but it really does a great job improving these background races and bringing them into the spotlight because they get their own Specter terminal entries. There's one that I read the other day. It was an intel report from a Hanar Specter, and it was written just like Hanar speak.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
It was hilarious. I loved it. And it felt so, I don't know, it felt appropriate. It felt good for Mass Effect because it was like, this is why I keep playing this game, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think if you're watching this video, if you're listening to this episode, then I'm willing to wager that you've played Mass Effect more than once.
Probably.
And you're trying to spruce up the gameplay a little bit. And so I think this will do that. And speaking of background races, there are things that they implement with the Specter expansion mod, which are like entirely new side quests. So it doesn't just start and stop at those Specter terminal entries. There's side quests, and there's a quest line that they're building, a completely original quest line, partially taken from lore from Cerberus Daily News. There was basically like this series of false newscasts, like faux newscasts in written form from Cerberus Daily News, which detailed little known stories. You can think of it like, unsolved mysteries of the Mass Effect universe. And it was awesome. So they detail in this one quest line, it's called the Ghosts of Antolin, and they detail the virtual aliens. This is something that's very briefly hinted at in Mass Effect lore. It's an entire alien race who at some point in the past had completely migrated their race's consciousness over into AI on like a planet itself. And so they only exist as software now. There is no hardware. They just exist as software.
Weird.
And you find this is the really impressive part of the mod for me. You find this while you're on Surkesh doing the main mission. There's like some terminal off to the side that you can go over and be like, oh, what's this? And it starts the quest. So it integrates it so seamlessly, like it's almost like the game should have started with that. And it was just some secret that you found along the way. And then, it starts there, but then, you find out that the Solarians have been decoding these messages from this race, and this race is stopped at the Citadel. But they don't trust this race, so they effectively say, get the hell off the Citadel. And so you can follow this story across the galaxy and unlock secrets about them with lore-friendly extensions. And I'm not going to spoil it for everyone, but I'm really digging this story that they've implemented into this mod. And there's tons more like that. And they said that this is just in beta mode, so they're constantly updating and adding it. Literally every week when I go to play Mass Effect, I need to update my mods.
Nice.
So this modding community is very active.
Yeah, and this specific mod developer is like on it.
Yes. This specific mod developer and the next one that we'll talk about. But there is a couple more points on this mod that I want to touch on.
But yet there's more.
But wait, there's more. Number one, they expand the galaxy map itself. And they provide these, like little snippets of insight into the greater Reaper War, not just Shepard's immediate sphere.
Nice.
So it makes it feel bigger than you, which is good.
Well, and you would want that intel even if you weren't going to those locations. You'd want to just have a sense of like a weather map, like, oh, there's a storm brewing over here. That's not where I live, but now I have a better understanding of the way the entire front is moving.
Yeah, exactly. And so it adds these new solar systems. You can buy star charts to unlock solar systems. So it's like an in-game, unlockable, lore-friendly thing to do. And they're all from the extended lore of the games, like the actual lore in the video games and the novels, the comics, you name it. And so these new systems, you can go and explore them, right? And they have some anomalies. Some of those anomalies might turn into war assets that would bump your galactic readiness. And they might be something so simple as a Vorcha labor team. You know what I mean? So it's something very small, but then that Vorcha labor team might fall under the industrial support category. So it feels very tactical, and it's really nice. And it feels like, it just makes sense. It just makes far more sense if you were in that scenario, if you were a shepherd, where you'd be shoring up support and how exactly they would be helping with the Crucible. And some of these anomalies take the place of text-based adventures. And I'm huge on that.
What year is this? 1985.
It is 1960. No, it's so some of them do take place in text-based adventures, so you got to use your imagination. But if you played Mass Effect 1, if you liked Elatania, that text-based vision where there's the Prothean, supposedly Prothean sphere, but then you see a Prothean / Reaper hunting a Cro-Magnon human, then if you liked that, then you would love this, because this is very much along the same vein, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've also noticed that there are new galaxy map assignments that didn't exist before, and it's because of this mod. And there's definitely new war assets that come from those assignments that you get just from exploring around. So it rewards the player again for exploring. And so all of these are lore friendly. Like I said, they're canonical or canon adjacent because they're based on existing lore. It's just this lore is stuff you probably haven't heard of because it's from the books, the novels, the comics, the Cerberus Daily News, the Mass Effect 3 datapad app. It's very obscure stuff. So it's all really interesting. If you love the story of Mass Effect, I really think you should check this out because it'll improve your gameplay. Yeah.
So again, that's the Specter expansion mod. And
yes,
we'll have links to all of these in the show notes and the description stuff underneath the video, wherever you are watching this. So you'll have an easy way to get access to each of these. But we're in the middle of the show. We got to go thank our patrons because you guys are freaking awesome. So we'll be right back.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
I am sovereign, and this station is mine. I like the sound of that.
Every time I hear that one, it's funny to me. Here we are in the middle of the show, and this is the part of the show where we get to thank our patrons, including our two newest patrons, N7 Muse and Cyclops88. Welcome to the Patreon. Thank you for signing up. You guys are awesome. And we have to shout out our shepherd tier patrons as well. We've got Kolka Shins, Kira C, Lieutenant Tocino, Pipe Man, and William. Thank you so much to the 5 of you, our 5 shepherds, and to the 61 current other patrons right now that are helping to support the show and make this a thing that we keep doing every week. And we couldn't tell you how much more we appreciate you than just all the gushing we do on every episode, because then it would just be an episode where we just gush about our patrons and nobody wants to listen to that, and then the patrons would all go away. So that's what I'm doing right now. But we don't have any new ratings or reviews this week. If you'd like to help us out on Apple Podcasts by leaving a rating, a 5-star rating, and a review, we'll read out the words on a future episode. You can also leave ratings on Spotify. If you listen on both of those platforms or either of those platforms, that's an awesome thing that you can do. And even if you don't and you have an account, you could always just log in and help us out, which we'd really appreciate. But that's what we got for this middle break. One last little reminder, though. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs on the Mass Effect Lorecast YouTube channel. And I think we're under 200 away. We're 100 and something subs away.
Yeah, I think it's 840 subs that we have, I think.
Yeah, so that's a big deal because at 1,000 subs, we're able to monetize the video version of the show, which will also help us out. It'd be like contributing to the show without contributing to the show. And YouTube is more and more just putting videos on, or putting ads on videos that aren't monetized for the content creators. So it's kind of dumb to have or ads pop up on our videos but not get paid for it, which is kind of dumb. But we'd really appreciate the support because that helps keeps us going. So man, even if just like a very small percentage of you guys who listen to the audio version were to just head over to the YouTube and hit the sub button, we'd be there tomorrow. So if you don't mind doing that, heck, and you might even enjoy looking at our faces or the clips on this video of the different stuff going on in the mods. We're doing lots of stuff over there. Go hang out with us on YouTube. We'd love to see you. But that's what we got for the middle of the show this week. Let's move on. We've got another mod to talk about. Here we go.
Spit it out, or are you trying to build suspense?
You're so dense, sir. Obviously, I do not know as much about human relationships as I thought.
All right, so you said you already have decided on a must-have for Mass Effect players.
I have. And it's for longtime Mass Effect modders, this is going to come as no surprise, but I have 3 words. Expanded Galaxy mod. This one is the proverbial shit.
It's not actually shit, because that's a bad thing.
Right.
A proverbial shit is a good thing.
This is the proverbial shit, not shit. So, and that's because this adds a ton of stuff. It's a massive mod. It is a massive mod for Mass Effect. And it is a role player's wet dream, honestly.
Oh boy. Oh man, we're getting into all sorts of body functions.
Oh yeah, and we got shit, we got wet dreams. This episode has it all, baby. And I bet you did not expect that when we were going to be talking about mods, but here we are.
Well, there is that part of the mod community.
Oh, yeah, that's true. If you enable that in not safe for work category on Nexus, Godspeed and good luck.
That does exist.
There's a lot.
It does exist.
Yeah, it does exist. And well, if you feel like ruining your day or your lunch, go ahead and
yeah. Some of that, like, let's just be fair. Some of it's like, oh, more sexy looking people. Cool. Maybe I'm into that right now. But some of it is like, yeah, like, oh, why was this a thing? Why was this not even only an idea, but also somebody took the time to make this? Ooh. Yeah. So there's
one for Mass Effect where, you know, it makes Ashley topless in the hospital in Mass Effect 3.
Right, like that does. We talked about that. Yeah, that doesn't. And
it's like, dude, she just got her ass kicked on Mars, and now she's passed out, and her face is like bruised all over. This is not.
Right, that's a weird moment to do that. Right, like I get the whole like some people are really into the game for the whole like romance and the sexual stuff that happens with the characters, and totally cool. Like that's fine, and I get maybe mods that like expand on that in a moment that makes sense. Right, it's like okay, yeah, maybe you're really into that. That's fine, but yeah, like beat up and in the hospital bed. Like, this is what?
Jesus,
come on.
What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, I know. So. The Expanded Galaxy mod doesn't do that. The Expanded Galaxy mod is exactly like you would think. Like the name says, it does expand the galaxy, literally, just like the Specter expansion mod. This one adds all of the previous systems from previous games. So all of the solar systems that you could go to in Mass Effect 1 and 2, guess what? They're in Mass Effect 3 and you can go there now.
You click on it and then it closes Mass Effect 3 and it loads up Mass Effect 1 and then now you're there.
No, it definitely does keep you in Mass Effect 3. Not all of those systems do have something new for you to find there. Some of them do, not all of them. But I don't think that there's any planets that you could land on in Mass Effect 1, unfortunately, that you can land again in Mass Effect 3. It doesn't work like that.
That would be a lot of work. It would be amazing.
That would be a lot.
It would be really cool.
But it would be amazing. And I do say all of these things that I'm about to say about the Expanded Galaxy mod, they come with a caveat because it is a shell of what it once was. This is for the Legendary Edition. This is not for original Mass Effect 3. The Expanded Galaxy mod for original Mass Effect 3 had so much more. And so this is yet another mod for Legendary Edition that is in beta. And they're bringing more features to it like every week.
Right.
So it's actively being worked on. But what's already out is already very impressive. And you have to try it out. they have reimagined the Galactic War, similar to how I was talking about how the Specter expansion mod kind of illustrates this war as something being bigger than Shepard. Well, the Expanded Galaxy mod does that too. So basically, you're now just a small part of this war that spans the entire galaxy, and at different points in the story, you're getting pop-ups on your screen. Hey, this human colony just fell. Hey, this Turian colony just fell. Hey,
Right.
all of the Volus on this planet just got wiped out.
So it really makes it feel like there's pressure. Like
There is a lot of pressure.
Every moment counts.
Yes, absolutely. There is tons of pressure, and you're going through the story at your own pace, thinking that everything's okay, and then stark reminder. Just really, really cold, harsh truth right there, and it comes up with a picture of the Reaper. Right. And you're like, oh fuck. Like I'm wasting time going and negotiating with shifty space cows, and people are dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, why am I so focused on this romance when there's millions and millions of lives to save? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that one's really fun. And so with that, you can read these customized intelligence reports in your codex, and you can see a map that changes as you're going through the story. So the galaxy map changes.
That's cool.
And there are icons on, there's like a Asari icon on Asari controlled systems. There's an Alliance icon on Alliance controlled systems. Same with the Turians, same with Omega. It's first a Cerberus icon. When Cerberus controls it, then it switches to Aria's icon. And so there's all these icons denoting territory. And as you're going through the story and the Reapers keep advancing, those icons are dwindling. And you're like, oh shit, we really are losing. So it lends credence to all this dialogue that you hear in the game about the dire situation and how bad things are.
Right.
Because you're like, yeah, they are bad.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
getting
I can
worse.
see
It's
them
getting worse out here. Yeah, okay, I've been watching it. I saw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Right.
so it makes sense, and with that, they also reworked war assets. So now you will nominally need a total war readiness that's much higher, but that will not be a problem because this mod gives you so many opportunities to pick up extra lore-friendly war assets, just like the Specter expansion mod does. And you go to these added solar systems, you do these extra side quests, just like Specter expansion mod. There's some text-based RP things you can do, and they come back in ways that you wouldn't necessarily predict. For example, there's this negotiations that were happening with the planet Beckenstein, a human colony, and Specters are involved with the negotiations, maybe, but Shepard is kind of spearheading it along with Udina, who is the ambassador. So that would make sense. And they're trying to get Beckenstein to give up some of their material wealth for the war effort and get them involved in being an industrial center for making, like Lend-Lease almost. And they're reluctant because they're like Switzerland. They're uber wealthy. They don't want to get involved. And they're thinking, maybe if we just don't do anything, you'll let us be. And you're also trying to get them to accept some refugees from other planets. And they don't want to accept the refugees because they're like, oh, well, if we accept the refugees, then the Reapers might come after us. So there are these very believable hypothetical social situations, and Shepard is involved in the negotiations. And so that's really cool to me because it adds a layer of depth to the game that is so micro. You know what I mean? That is so micro, but it is
thematically accurate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is
that's
the kind of bullshit that Shepard might have to be involved in if this were a real scenario.
Right.
And so, so that, depending on how you handle that, you will get different war assets. And so all of these choices really do matter when it comes to making that final cut of, do you meet this number to unlock this ending? Do you meet this number so that you can fulfill the Shepard Lives ending? Maybe you won't. I'm not sure. I haven't finished my first modded playthrough yet. So it's getting harder and harder for me to get all of these war assets to get to a point where it's enough. So if you're looking for a challenge 2 that is lore friendly, I highly encourage it. this mod on that realm as well. Now about the map. There are several settings that you can choose when you're setting it up in the mod manager, and you can choose whether to switch the Reapers responding to your signals completely off. You can choose to switch that off, so you can go around scanning willy-nilly if you want. Or you can increase their speed.
Oh, God.
So that makes it a little bit harder. I tried that, and so by default, it increases the speed in the Earth in the local system by a ton. And I was caught scanning in the local system right after I escaped Earth. And it's like, oh man, they are on your ass.
Just on.
They are on your ass, and you're like, holy crap, I gotta go. So it's also thematic that way. And you can also get the map to show the assets, the war asset percentage that has been gathered. You can get them to show that always, or maybe just only after scanning. So then that way you know where you have been and where you haven't been. You can also implement a shorter mass relay animation between systems. So that's really nice.
That's cool.
I appreciated that.
Yeah,
It's a shorter loading screen, essentially.
That's great.
And there's tons of other, quality of life improvements with those map settings. But the part that I really loved the most, you can change the Normandy into this true customizable mobile headquarters that feels like a mobile headquarters. You can buy, additions to the Normandy. You can buy a shooting range. You can buy an armored carrier, the Mako itself, a hammerhead, and you can display them in the Normandy itself. You can buy javelin missiles that then show up visually in the Normandy.
Cool.
And so you're buying these things that it feels like it makes a difference, and you see that difference, and you're like, oh hell yeah, I'm getting stronger. I'm
right.
putting money toward this, and it matters. And so I really love that aspect as well. The shooting range is a lot cooler than I thought it would be, and it takes place in the armory bay down the bottom. And you just, you can control the target distance. One target is just health. One target has armor. One target has barrier. So you can test out your different tactics.
Yeah.
And
your different equipment, see how much damage it does.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you can do this all on the Normandy before you go out on an assignment. So that's the real value of it. You don't have to go back to the Citadel, go to the Specter terminal, go to the shooting range there, and go through 4 or 5 loading screens before you go out on a mission. So it makes it so much more convenient, and it is very nice. It's a surprisingly fun shooting range to test weapons and stuff at. And it's one of the only times that I think you will ever see in Mass Effect. You're allowed to fire weapons and use abilities, and you're still in your casual outfit.
Right.
So you're not wearing armor.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. And so, it's awesome. There's also a part in the mod when you're setting it up in the mod manager where you can check a little box and you get background music in Mass Effect 3 on the Normandy that you heard in Mass Effect 1.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's the Mass Effect 1 Normandy theme.
Yeah,
that you hear in the background.
You can switch it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's not just empty silence and dead space, so to speak. And it also brings the War Assets terminal from the CIC or from the command center, up to the CIC. So now the War Assets terminal is right next to your personal terminal.
That makes sense. Yeah. Which
also includes the shipping or the ship manifest and the equipment or the staffing manifest. Sorry, I'm drinking beer right now and it's coming back up.
So yeah.
And speaking of staffing, you can choose who mans what post. So you get manual control over who your XO is, your executive officer.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can control who you want to be your Marine officer. And the Marine officer is, of course, the officer in charge of the detachment of Marines on your ship. Which brings me to my next point. You can put a large detachment of Alliance Marines on your ship. And if you go to the largest setting, you will see more Alliance Marines around the ship, near the elevator, near the armory,
right.
Yada, yada, yada.
Right, because they have to be somewhere, so that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you walk by them, they actually salute.
Right, yeah, which also makes sense, yes.
It feels just more immersive. It feels more like it doesn't feel like the Normandy is empty,
Right. Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And you can even hire a chef.
That's great.
So you get two options for a chef. You get Eli Lejeune, and I forget her name, but she is a sushi chef. And so Eli is all about like Southern comfort food and good times, it tells you.
That's great.
I shit you not. He's a barman. And so when you hire him, it improves the morale of the ship.
Oh, nice.
But if you hire the sushi chef, now your dextro amino acid friend on the Normandy, so Garrus and Tally, they can actually eat. They don't have to eat that terrible paste. So they can eat the sushi. And if you hire either one of them, I believe you don't need anyone to feed your fish.
Oh, they take care of that?
Your fish will never die unless it's for the sushi, I guess.
Yeah, maybe they're just cycling new fish in as they take other ones out.
Can you imagine you get back on the ship and you're like, hey, where are my fish? And then you see Garrus just slurp up a little tail.
Hey, Shepard. Garrus?
Pulls a Zoidberg. He sand crabs away. Yeah. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's where Shepard's fish keep going. And
I'm
so,
tired
yeah,
of this pace, Shepard.
the staffing part, I'm a huge fan of. After a certain point in the story, even you get to pick Geth or Quarian engineers to be on your engineering team. So
That's cool.
I think I already know who I'm going to pick for my playthrough, but it's up to everyone else who they want to. And when it comes to the squad on your ship, you have now an expanded set of options for how often you want to relive romances in your cabin.
Oh, see, like we were talking about with some of the mods, like if you're into the romance part of it, then expand it out a little bit. Yeah.
Right. And now with this mod, you get this interactive picture of Shepard's love interest, and you can invite them up to your cabin and you can spend time with them. And I think there's 3 different interactive scenes that you get per squad mate. There's also collectibles that you can get for your personal cabin. So you can get like a blade that goes on the wall. You can get Shepard's helmet, I believe. You can get several other things that are really cool.
Yeah. I always wish they did more of that stuff because,
yes,
you know, you want to make it feel like your own. I mean, there's always things to change in your cabin, but it's always very limited.
True, but you're also like displaying your accomplishments,
right?
You know, your achievements.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. I wish they did more of that as well. So if you're into that, then I think you'll like this mod. And speaking of the squad mates, you can change all of their casual outfits. You get to pick during the setup of this mod in the mod manager. You can change the casual outfits that they wear on the Normandy and the Citadel. And you can just adjust those in the settings pretty much anytime.
All sweatshirt hoodies. That's across the board.
I suppose you could do that.
Everybody's super cash, super comfy.
There is even one outfit for Edie that I'm not going to spoil anything, but you only unlock it if you go to a certain point in the Cerberus mission in the very beginning. I think it's actually during the Mars mission is where you would unlock it, I think.
Okay.
Or it's one of those in-7 missions during the Cerberus. I think it's actually one of those. That's where you would unlock it. And you have to be very diligent. And when you pick it up, you can finally go back into the settings and unlock it. And it is this synth skin for Edie.
That's
so
cool.
It makes it look a little bit more like an android. Not going to spoil it, but I love it. It's not for everyone, but I love it. There's also bonus squad mates.
Bonus squad mates?
Yes. So, on in-7 missions, you can select from bonus squad mates depending on where you are in the story. For example, I was able to bring Rex on a mission. In Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty awesome. I was able to bring Rex on an in-7 mission. And I think you can bring other later squad mates on those missions, depending on where you are in the story. Basically, if it makes sense that they're on the Normandy at the time, like Rex was, before you cure the, the genophage.
You're not like bringing anybody back from the dead or anything like that. It all just makes sense with how the story would have been right in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if they're on the Normandy for a main quest line, they are available to go out on these side missions until they leave the Normandy.
That's cool, man. That's quite. They obviously had to do a lot of work to make sure that stuff was tracked correctly.
Yeah, I can't believe they made that work.
Yeah.
And finally, it adds new weapons. There's the Collector SMG, the Collector Sniper Rifle. It adds the Geth Spitfire as an actual weapon that you can use, and the Gladius M57. Now, those weapons are kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of adding more weapons. I think the weapons that already existed were cool. There were also other weapons that it adds from Mass Effect multiplayer, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. However, I was more psyched about Fashion Effect.
Right.
Because there's a companion mod that goes with this called EGM Armors for Legendary Edition Mass Effect 2 and 3. And you can download either or. And that adds some of the coolest sets of armor I think I've ever seen. And some of the Andromeda sets of armor too, each with their own unique bonuses. There's different bonuses that I have been able to min-max my power recharge bonus, so that when I'm casting my biotics, with that and the other attachments I have on my weapons, my powers never take longer than 1.5 seconds to recharge.
Wow. Nice.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I have min-maxed the hell out of it. So I'm a big fan of that one. That one's sweet to me. There's also a number of gameplay improvements. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're more about gameplay, then you might appreciate the fact that now you can, when you're launching a mission from the Normandy, you will always be able to change your armor automatically as you're deploying. And if that's not good enough for you, you can change your armor while you're on the mission. You can just press Control L on keyboard.
Wow.
Just Control L while you're on the mission.
Yeah.
You can also change your weapons that way. So you can change your weapons at any time.
It makes it feel more like Fallout, where you've got an inventory and you're like, I want to wear this instead, or I want to use this weapon instead right now.
It's exactly what it is. It makes it feel like you have an inventory. During combat missions, you can also press P to sheath your weapons. So now you don't always have to be walking around like that.
Yeah, that was a RAM limitation of the Xbox 360, I believe.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a weird quirk.
They added so much content for Mass Effect 3 that they had to cut back on certain things, and so they just didn't even have the extra RAM to be able to sheath your weapon. Which is nuts.
It's like they were really working. They were playing the cards they were dealt, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And by the way, that Control L thing about changing outfits, that doesn't just apply to when you're out on a combat mission. You can do that on the Citadel, too, if you want to change your casual outfit.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool as well. You can also press H to toggle helmets for Shepard in the squad. Mm-hmm. That's nice as well. And this mod also makes sure that all of the cutscenes will use your correct weapons that you have assigned to your character.
Oh, there you go.
So no more generic rifle or pistol appearing, and you're like, I'm not using that.
What? That's all right. Whatever. Yeah.
So, and finally, probably one of the best things that this mod does, you can custom set the timing of missions and when they appear. And this is important for Mass Effect because some missions are timed, Mm-hmm. You can preset when the DLC and other missions unlock along the way.
Interesting.
So if there's DLC, that just makes far more sense playing it near the end, like the Leviathan DLC. Mm-hmm. You can make sure that DLC doesn't become available until then.
Right. So you go through things in a more, logical order.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't feel rushed with 8 main missions all becoming available at the same time. And you're like, which one do I do first and then what, so that I don't lose out on any mission? Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to balance that.
Right. Dude, that sounds awesome. This sounds like a must get, especially if you're on your 3rd, 4th playthrough and you've got, a lot of familiarity with the way things work and you want to kind of freshen things up.
Absolutely. And like I said, they are constantly updating stuff with this mod and pretty much all the mods except for the appearance one. They're updating stuff every week. Every week I have to update mods.
Yeah.
And the Expanded Galaxy mod, I cannot wait for it to add more of what it originally had for Mass Effect 3. But if you are a Mass Effect 3 player, if you like mods, you got to download that one.
Awesome stuff. Well, you know what? I would also love to hear what people in our community are doing, what you've been modding into the game, how you've been updating your gameplay and all of that stuff. If there's things that we should be checking out, let us know. Send us some messages. Join us on the Discord. Tell us what we're missing out on. We'd love to hear it. That's going to be it for this episode this week. Where are we going next week?
So next week, we are doing the second survey. You remember the first one we did? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be releasing the link tomorrow, and that would be Saturday the 3rd, if you're listening to this after the fact. And I'll be posting that link on the Mass Effect Lorecast Twitter. I'll leave it up for about a week, a little bit less than a week, and then we will report the results next Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be interesting because the last one was. So... very cool stuff. We also have, if you are listening to this before Labor Day, before Monday, September 5th, we are getting together with a bunch of the hosts across the Robots Radio Network. We will be streaming all day long. I'll be streaming some. We have a bunch of other hosts streaming. We have a multi-host Dungeons and Dragons session where they're all going to start, get this, Sam, have you heard about this? They're all going to start at level 20. Like you don't start a Dungeons and Dragons session at level 20, right?
That's insane.
You start at like level 1 or level 3 or level 5, maybe. Like level 20. That's going to be amazing. It should be nuts. We're going to have lots of games, lots of live podcasts, and we are raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital to help the kids. It's going to be a big deal. I'm hoping to make this a regular thing and do at least, something like this at least once a year, if not more often. So come hang out. It's at twitch.tv/robotsradio, but then also many of the other hosts are streaming on their own channels as well. You'll be able to donate on any of those channels. You'll see links and things on the overlays and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome. So don't miss it. Monday, September 5th, twitch.tv/robotsradio. Sam, I know you've got your stream schedule. Things are kind of getting back to normal with your whole job situation, right?
Yeah, I do. So I'm still getting back to normal. I just started on my actual shift this week. So I've been waking up at like 4 a.m. to go to work. And so now I'm getting super tired early. Right?
God, yeah.
So yeah, I'm still juggling some things. Couldn't make Dragon Age work yesterday. However, I will be doing Sassy Shep tomorrow at some point. I'm not entirely sure. That is Saturday, and you can count on it pretty much every Saturday from here on out. In fact, part of my stream tomorrow might just be discussing what I've seen at PAX. So
yeah, sometimes it's fun to just hang out and chat with the community. I've been trying to do that more with my stream, just kind of like talk to people.
and that might be very well what happens tomorrow. But yeah, I am in my Mass Effect 3 playthrough with Sassy Shepard, and there isn't too much left, to be honest. I think I'm like, maybe 40% of the way through the story. Mm-hmm. So you'll want to come and see that before I wrap up. And then, of course, I am doing Thedas Thursdays, my first Dragon Age playthrough. If you're curious, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at In7 The Legend.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, chat, for being here. It's always awesome to have you guys in chat and chiming in about stuff. I hope you check out some of these mods, and I hope you have a wonderful week. We'll see you guys next time. Stay safe out there. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Mass Effect Lorecast. We'd love to hear your opinion and thoughts on the lore of Mass Effect. Reach out to us on Twitter at Mass Effect Cast, or check out the Robots Radio Discord. Also, you can send us an email at masseffectlorecast@gmail.com.